All right, then. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, you lovely, you beautiful, you kind, you absolutely adorable mayoral types and city developers you are. Hey, everybody, it's Josh, and welcome to another episode of Dead Men Streaming. And you'll have to forgive me if I sound a little bit congested. It rained yesterday, therefore, I'm congested. Of course, the fact is, I exist, therefore, I'm congested. So, as you hear me sniffle along in today's stream, let's take a peek at some of the things we did last time that I'll tell you what I'm going to do next. Most importantly, last time we set up some new outside connections. We got them up here. We finally added the beautiful cathedral that I've wanted to add since I started this map. Not quite where I wanted it, and I was hoping to put it more on the hill than beside it. But the way that we've set it up here next to Hawthorne Glen is going to allow me to come over here and do some out in the holla style buildings. That was my worst West Virginia accent, which is funny because I live here. Um, that's going to let me just do some very basic mini village stuff. But we're not playing a game of cities, rural America. We're playing a game of city skylines. And a lot of our development so far, including the parts that seem to be on fire, um, are all focused on mid density buildings, or what high density buildings we have. They're on the small side. I mean, they're decently sized apartment complexes, but they're spaced out on purpose. I wish they weren't spaced out. I don't know if this is realistic or not, just to have an apartment, then, a plot of land next to it where there's nothing. Really, probably need to turn it all into parking with a mix of office buildings and small density commercial, and we'll get to that in a few. We do have a complaint from our bus station saying that we don't have enough vehicles somehow. We've got some issues where trash is still being a problem over here, where we've got a couple of small locations that just aren't being served, so we're going to need to put in another recycling plant. And since our rail dreams have imploded in our face, since we still can't cross this. Now, I want to be blunt with you guys really quick. Today is May the 2nd as I record this video. When is it going to get posted? Hopefully within the next couple of weeks. I'm going to start posting these sometime early next week, I think. So you've been seeing a development that's been going on for a month without your knowledge. And that's assuming you watch them when this goes live. Um, so as I do this, there has been some hints on Steam that the much delayed, very sadly delayed, Bridges and Piers DLC is going to drop soon for City Skylines too. As I say this again, it is May the 2nd, 2025. Some Steam achievements have gotten posted and updated, and that means that it's likely that the game is ending in the, finished state for the DLC, for where they're going to add things like a fishing industry and better bridges and things. So maybe my frustration about this bridge is just preemptively out of date. And it's something that we're going to be able to resolve soon. So, but this is the first thing I'm going to start with. Since our real plan for now, in my world, in my time, has gone sideways, I'm going to go ahead, buy this tile in a second. We're going to set up a cargo port right here, since that rail line can go right there. Then we're going to look about expanding in and starting to build up some landmarks in our downtown area, and then push down a little bit. What I kind of would like to do, I love this coastline right here. I love this over here. But I was hoping that we could really build up, closer this much area with something that's not highway. And as it stands, we did have to go off this really weird jog right here. So since we're making money hand over fist right now, and that's only going to increase once I put the port down, I'm probably going to snap up a bunch of tiles. We're going to shift the whole highway system over a lot, and then we're going to see what happens from there. But let's start with a port, because sometimes ports can take more time than I want to invest in, as it were. What tiles do we need? I'm just going to go ahead and get these two. We shouldn't need anything more than that right now. And that northernmost tile, well, That tile, anyways, I don't know if you can call it northernmost, wasn't really needed. So the next thing that we're going to do is I'm going to leave this on pause because let's see, what time is it? Game time? It's noon game time. So instead of leaving it paused, I'm going to put it on speed one, get some slow mo going. Just because I want to build up our income before I go off on a buying spree. All right, so this plot of land right here is actually really nice for our port. I just wanted to extend it out just a hair. I don't usually build cargo ports first, I don't like to, but in this case, this rail is sitting here. It's not doing anything. We don't have any sea traffic yet. That's something that I want to fix. Now, the fun question is going to be, do I have the train line on the right side? And I suspect the answer to that question is, as it always is going to be no. So cargo ports, as they stand right now, can only receive a train line on one side, and it's so frustrating. We have the same problem with the cargo train terminal. So let me go ahead and set this. It's saying we're in the water, which I can't possibly imagine since it's our harbor. So we're going to come over here. We're going to smooth this out, see if that makes a difference like it has with some of our other bridges. Can that fix anything? Man, that pushes that up way higher than I thought it would. Okay, now where does the rail come in? Not that side. Oh, did we get it right? We did not. Oh, words for you, sir. There are words for you. Okay. I'm gonna move it down another 10 feet. And then what I'm gonna have to do, I plan to leave this as a cooling pond. Um, for an industrial whoops, for an industrial something. And doesn't look like we're going to be able to do that in full. And if you're not familiar with what a cooling pond is, so a lot of plants use water, as you know, and sometimes they generate water waste, or sometimes they generate super hot water. So a cooling pond is just that. They dump the super hot water into it, it evaporates off. Sometimes it can be used as a waste disposal system. Sometimes it's just there to let things chill. Sometimes they dump it into the cooling pond and then they recycle it back into the main system once it's had a chance to get back down to a reasonable temperature. You see it a lot around power plants in my area. Not the greatest thing ever for the environment, but they usually try to pretend to, do something with them. Okay, so this is going to be the curve from hell. I don't know if this curve would be allowed in real life or not. So we've got a nice casual curve sloping down in, then it takes a hard that. And where this is going to be a problem is, as you notice, that's also where the road connection is supposed to be. So, how we're going to deal with this? Well, looks like our main jog of the road comes down, it's going to split under the tram line. We'll have a second jog coming down through here, straight down that, and then we'll have to delete and redo that rail line once we get our road situation fixed. But I just wanted to make sure that we could run the roads and that this wasn't, something that was going to blow up completely in our faces. And once again with this map, we can't run a road right beside it. Okay, got it on what was basically the second try. I'll live with that. Okay. Now, with City Skylines 1, a cargo port like this would use up like it would be a traffic nightmare. In CS2, for whatever reason, it's nowhere near as bad. So we're going to be grateful for that since it's going to be running up into a high traffic congestion area already before it can get over here into our freeway. Although we're going to do our best to mitigate that potential issue as we swing down here. We're going to pause to get this under the tram line so I don't interrupt our tram system. Honestly, that cut right through just like that is perfectly fine. All right, back to tram. Okay, kept it at that height. Still allowed us to cross the roads without any problems. So far, so good. All right, so gone ahead and we've got it. Let me just go ahead and expand. So this comes with a couple of attachments, the warehouses, which don't have to go on it. They can go right next to it, thankfully. So we're going to slip one right there. So have it stick out into the water a little bit. And I'm going to stick one right up here for aesthetic purposes. Then we'll go ahead and add a second cargo crane to this. And what that does is just supposedly it increases the rate of which the cargo harbor can work. Then for the short term, I'm going to go ahead and I probably shouldn't even bother with this. We'll probably delete it in a couple of minutes, but I want to make sure it works. Okay, we've done all that. Now we're going to do the thing that's going to give me a nightmare. We're going to add in our seaways over here, which are going to be problematic. Yeah, I was afraid of that. Oops. So just to get these seaway curves, we're going to have to buy this. And, here's the frustration. Because this bridge requires so much height before you can get a thing under it, I'm not going Yeah, it's not going to slip underneath there, so we're going to have to be super careful. Our ships are going to be making super weirdly tight turns. That would probably get me yelled at by every sea captain out there. And I just realized they didn't install a basic sea route into this map up here. And we can't without buying all these tiles. How much is this going to cost me? $2.2 million. Oh, sorry. 2.4 million. It's fine. We'll make it back. We'll make it back. 2.1 million. I intended to buy tiles, just not in that direction. It's fine. It's fine. Got it connected, got it snapped to a road network. Okay, we should now start receiving ships up here. As far as this rail situation goes, let's bring this up to our 7.5 clearance vector. I'd like it high enough to get that concrete wall for emphasis. I'll straighten out that connection as it sinks in. No, I'm legitimately tempted just to leave that train crossing right there. Well, this is going to receive some train traffic. I don't think that that'll be enough to, you know, cause fear and loathing in Las Vegas or whatever. So I'm, I'm going to go against my base instincts and just leave it as a crossing. I live next to several. I travel across them on a regular basis. They are terrible. Are Oh, are you kidding me? If I wasn't off by just that much. Oh, that intersection just forced that guy to stop at the train spot. Let's not. Let's not do that. Because that's terrible. Okay. And that weird shadow is the tree in the middle of that. All right. So we've upgraded this. We've given it the second cargo line. We've given it two warehouses. Um. Oh, you know what we haven't done? That's kind of important to make the cargo harbor work. To handle cargo is to create a route. Whoops. So we'll just go ahead and do that. Then it pains me to ignore that existing connection right there when we're so close to it. But it's two tiles away. And well, it's only 220. Okay. Yeah, that cost us about $50,000 an hour. Yeah. Pathfinding failed to the second one. Are you serious? Ever feel some days that you play the game and some days the game just plays you? Just me? Okay. Yeah, I put a node there for a reason, guys. Come on. Literally water. Okay, we'll find. We'll make it a small shipping line. And it looks like, if I'm not mistaken, yeah, we didn't have to buy those tiles because that shipping line was already there. Same way we didn't have to buy the tiles with the highway system. They're already there. Okay. Now, if I wanted to go all the way up here or whatever, I would have to buy those tiles. But I don't want to. Not right now, anyways. All right, so that bought us tiles. That's given us some shipping traffic. Now we got to do the last step. We only have one cargo train system right now, but I want to check our rail yard. We're using 12 of 15 vehicles, so we're almost tapped out at our rail yard, um, which I have to admit doesn't particularly surprise me. So let's go ahead and see if we can get away with adding another cargo train line without making the game go into complete fits. Can't promise that's going to happen, but we are going to try. Can't promise I'll remember where I put our cargo station, but I'm going to try for that too. Okay. All right, so that's just a simple haul back and forth. We're good. I'm going to go ahead and invest in invest in our first storage warehouse, I guess. Put it at the back of this since it's not going to use it, but I like the aesthetics and I have the money. Okay, then. Done. Saving game. All right, that now sets up our everything. It's got mail, it's got beverages. We've got 4 different routes coming out of this thing. It's costing us 390,000 a month. It's got 139 employees, so there's some jobs. I think I'm happy with that. I am going to take a drink of caffeine, sit back and enjoy the sounds of my slurping. All right, now that my desperate need to put up my blood pressure and pretend to give myself energy is accomplished, we are going to take a hard look at what we can do to develop this. And the first thing, since our buses are complaining, is this looks like a decent place to me for a bus depot, since we're not really going to be using it for much else. Let me take a look. I'm going to drop it there like it's hot. And we're going to set up a one-way alley that'll cut across that rail. Reserve the right to change that later. Go ahead and flip on electric buses. And then we're going to add a couple of extra garages. Yeah, we didn't scoot that over far enough. So that now gives us an extra 65 buses total, which is more buses than we're going to need, and I'm okay with that. And I said I was putting down a one-way alley there. I don't like it. I'm going to put down a one-way 2-lane road. Again, I don't like the rail crossing aspect, but this is going to have limited, focused, targeted traffic, and we'll be fine without going overkill. And we're not going to have any public transport. We're going to have public transport coming down here, but we're not going to have public transport full of transport people coming down here. Transport people? No, that's a way to phrase human cargo, I suppose. We'll take it. Human cargo, probably another statement I shouldn't use on a YouTube channel, but there we go. All right, we'll just do a small road network right up through the back of that. We'll put a walking path down in through here. This is going to be for aesthetics more than anything else. Now, if I've invested a bunch of money into a harbor, into a port, into assorted port related materials that we have down here, there are two things I'm going to want. I'm going to want some extra warehousing, and I'm going to want some extra production, and I'm going to want an office. So let's take a look at our offices under signature buildings. Look for something that's going to fit in, be interesting. And really, I just think the local office building will be fine. As a perk, crime rate, well being, university education, chance to graduate, office efficiency gets a +1, 5% interest in university education, which is always good. Because the smarter our students, the happier everything is. And I'm just going to slip it right back there. Right there. So the downside is we're not going to get any of like the aerial bonuses, like, oh, 500 meters of well-being next to a water pump and a warehouse. Yay. I'm going to feel better as I hide behind an alley. Um, but that crime rate means I can hide behind the alley without, being at risk of getting mugged, so I'll take it. Okay. So we got our office building. I'm kind of wondering if a commercial building wouldn't be, the worst idea down here. Mm, I'm saving these big ones. I need to quit saving these. That's my problem. Don't need a sophisticated entertainment complex. However, I will take a pub. I'll take a pub and I'll stick it behind this warehouse. There we go. And that pub is going to give us an attractiveness boost, another well-being, but it's also going to deport our deport. It's going to improve our import costs. Ugh. Man, I got to tell you, as someone with a legit head injury, an old legit head injury, words are hard. And I say this as a guy who writes books. I say this as a guy who both doesn't edit his books as well as he should and has paid an exorbitant amount of money to editors because words are hard. All right, so we're going to fill in some of these spaces with industrial and also a couple of plazas. Because these hardworking guys down here, deserve a spot that they can go on their lunch break. Like, it's not an industrial plaza, it's nothing too spectacular, but it'll fit. Speaking of plazas and parks, though, let's slip in a park maintenance and a road maintenance depot while we're down here doing road related activities. Why does the game think putting this here is going to interfere with that? Who even knows? Will it fit back here? No. Or there? No. Or there? No. No, of course not. It fits there. I doesn't like anything hitting that node. So we do the only thing we can. We delete the node and start over. Now will it let me? That's back to bus depot. Oh, did it? Go ahead and upgrade both of these. Are there any resources right here? Could we expand this complex a little bit with some actual production buildings? What do we got? Farm. And I'm sort of against putting a farm right next to a high pollution area. Okay. All right, so no to the farm, but what we can do though, let's go over here, specialized, and stone mining doesn't actually do anything. It doesn't require any special materials. I know I just zoned that for industrial right there. I kind of hate to undo it. So let me undo it right there. Let me delete that. Let me move this park structure to right there. Let me dezone this. Let's get rid of that construction. Actually, impressed. It usually argues with me about snapping to the sides of railway. Push it right up to the edge of that park. Can I zone right there? No. So if I can't zone, I may as well build. I spoke too soon. That little gap right there is going to really annoy me. So we're going to go over to landscaping. We're going to take the extra effort this time. So I'm going to tuck this up under rail and that building. Is it actually letting me recolor it? Are you kidding me? Huh. Hmm. All right. Well, I'm sure that's any better, but it's a surface. We'll take it. Okay. So this isn't going to employ more than a couple of people, which is fine. It's not going to generate much, which is fine. How much is it generating? How much can it generate? Is this harvestable resources none? The stone. Stone doesn't. I don't know. All right. I'm not going to worry about it. We have a thing built. That's good. That's good enough for me. Our trains are making the turn without imploding. So I thought that cargo train looked kind of empty. Picked up 150 tons. Okay. Hmm. That building is suffering water damage because it is flooding right there. All right, we'll delete it and then we will dezone that. It's like when it's zoned up to that, it lowered the land automatically. All right, I made that a walking path, but in retrospect, I really shouldn't have, so let me fix it as a 2-lane. Made it a walking path, immediately put down non-walking buildings on it. Yeah. Okay, so let's take a look over here at Aspen Street and what we can do to do something with this. We'll run an alley behind this warehouse. We'll confuse that cop car for reasons that I don't understand. Then I'm just going to flag this whole area for industrial development. Well, maybe not the whole area. Let's take a look. Can I bring anything back across here? Dzone, delete. Get our smoothing out tool once again. Let's get our level tool, then our smoothing tool. Put our 4-lane road down to 2.5 meters. To that. Yeah, created a quay. There we go. Interfered with that building's development. I think for obvious reasons doesn't need to be a 4-lane all the way down. It would be so lovely if I could continue that somehow. Sneak a tiny little alley all the way up through there. Right behind that cooling pond. Okay, that's beautiful. That's wonderful. I like it. Okay, back down to here. Snapping back on, since we turned it off for that little mini development. I'm going to end that with a medium asphalt cul-de-sac right there. But wait, there's more. So then, and finally, I think to wrap this up, I mean, there's not really a lot of. Well, you know what? I take that back. There's a lot of room for it, but I have to get rid of that, I think. Okay. So since we are still having problems with garbage collection over here in this particular district, I will go ahead. That's not in water, but the game thinks it is. So if the game thinks you've got something in the water, look and see if you've got sand. If you have sand, sometimes the game confuses sand with water and it's annoying. But it is what it is. Now, again, the perk of the Japanese Recycling Center is because it is so small, but it cannot be upgraded. However, it does fit in certain places very, very well. So we're going to go ahead and assign it strictly to Elizabeth Meadows, but we also need to and I see part of the problem. Elizabeth Meadows doesn't cover. This is why our recycling, we could have fixed this and probably wouldn't have had to redo our district or add an extra plan, I mean. So come over here to district creation tool, stretch this out, because if a building's outside the district, it will not be served by the stuff you have targeting that district. And that's just something I happen to miss. So that is strictly a my fault thing. But hey, look, it also wouldn't be serving the ports, so it's a good thing we caught this now. Otherwise, those industrial plants are going to make a big stink in a bad way. Okay, so that's up, and it's going to have spawned a couple of recycling trucks, so that's good. And yeah, that port's already complaining about garbage production, which doesn't surprise me. It should be. Like, I ain't mad. Okay. So hopefully a truck or two will be over for that in the near future. All right. And I'm going to put down something I haven't put down a lot of. Or any of, really. Let's take a look. It's so long and it's not going to fit. There we go. Couple of medium gravel parking lots. The reason why I haven't been using parking is after doing a bit of research with the way the game performs, um, it's been determined that as things stands right now, cars will go to a parking lot regardless of if there are other cars in its designated spot. And if there aren't, then they'll just turn around and leave. They're like, oh, there's a parking space here, let me go. And so, in addition to the traffic that you get as cars go into a parking space, you also get additional traffic as some cars are like, yeah, parking, and try to go there just for the sake of going there. And as you can imagine, this creates a problem in a lot of ways. And it's just a weird game mechanic that I we cannot do anything about. Um, I love the fact that we have parking because I love a lot of the parking buildings, but um, it just ain't working for me right now. It just ain't. Okay, so what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to expand. I was really hoping to put a cul-de-sac right there. I guess not. All right, well, we can fill it in with a little bit more industrial. Okay, so this won't do a lot for the industrial demand in our city. It did drop it a little bit. Um, didn't really increase our whatevers. Got a cargo shipwreck happening here. So, but we are importing a lot of cargo. I mean, look at that. We got two cargo container ships coming in with 1,000 tons of cargo each. So this is not bad for us. It's not bad for the city. Let's take a look at our production. Wow, we are far behind in vegetables. We're low on livestock. We're low on lumber. Not terrible on wheat. Still low on oil. Not so bad. But we're not really making a surplus of anything. We actually have a deficit of stone, so it's a good thing I put that stone down. We've got a slight surplus of coal and of minerals. So I'm gonna. Now, our material goods, our production's pretty solid. We've got a lot of concrete going out, all this stuff. Low on plastics. Not terribly low, but that's not helpful for us. Uh, we have a lot of electronics. And then it looks like our immaterial goods are all pretty good. We've got plenty of lodging, plenty of entertainment, food. Looks like we're doing outstanding on media and finance. And so these are all office things, which is completely fine with me. Office and retail right through there. So those are all perks. But it's just our industrial that's kind of taken a hit. But that's okay because we are not running a heavy industrial city. We're running a heavy office city. So, I mean, it tracks out. That said, everything we import does affect our bottom line, does make it harder for cities, for buildings in our city to develop. However, since we're playing already with everything unlocked, our give a darn, for lack of a better word, is minimal. And it's not something we have to be overly concerned about. Okay. Uh, like I should be concerned. I should be like, oh no, this is terrible. But you know what? I just don't have it in me right now. All right, I still would like to develop this area some and over here. What's our homeless population like aside from terrible? Terrible, 940 in a city this size. Okay. Unemployment rate of 11%, which is also not good. I mean, our homeless rate is less than 1%. So I'm going to be kind of happy about that. And there, I was waiting for that. Not enough trains. Okay. This has been calling for a hearse and an ambulance now for a very long time. 8 people waiting for a hearse. Why have you not been served? We've got a death care building literally right next to you. Why have you not been handled? Is that hearse going to stop and pick you up? No, it ignored you. Dude. Well, okay. So what are these two buildings? Is that a school? That's a school. I'm not putting a crematorium right behind a school. I'm a miserable person some days, but I am not that bad. All right. And I shouldn't say miserable. Let's say depressed. We'll go with depressed. All right. Uh let's I don't know if we can I don't know if additional death care is going to do anything for that or not. But we'll find out. We'll slip in an extra crematorium over here. Right there in the middle of all this residential district, like it's gonna stink, but makes me wonder if there's not something actually glitched with the building or the node that's preventing services from coming up here, which I actually suspect that's more of the problem. Oh, a deceased child? That's terrible. Wow, we are not looking at the info panels anymore. Okay, so if I run an alley, will it knock out that building? Shouldn't. So just on the chance that the front node is confused, I do see that there is, a little back entrance here. Maybe that'll make a difference. I hate going out of the way for one building, but sometimes you either have to go out of the way or, you just deal with something not being fixed. And that did it. That got her hearse, and there's our ambulance. So that took care of one hearse demand, not all of them. All right, one ambulance, two ambulance. Maybe two ambulances stop for something. Okay, well, give it a chance to process. All right, we'll check back up on that in a little bit. See if that makes any difference. Okay, moving on from there. How we doing on cash? 38. How we doing on time? We've played for an hour. We have fussed with that stuff for an hour, getting all that stuff built in that poured in. But hey, listen, let's take a quick look. We've got a small new industrial complex. We've got a port system set up that's very clogged. And it's going to cause. I hope it doesn't cause a wreck on the bridge. Um, I'm really happy with this. That came out very nice. It came out a lot better than most of my ports do. So I think we should be good here. Facility full. Ah, church. Yeah, can't do anything about that. I mean, we can, but they are super expensive, like ridiculously expensive. Okay, so we have a lot of complaints about lack of tourists coming in, lack of lodging. We can fix this in a couple of different ways. Well, we've got more lodging than we have tourists. Um, let's take a quick look at our tourism panel. And we're pulling 158 tourists a month. We've got a city attractiveness of 95, so it's not that our city's unattractive. Part of it's just there are two parts to it. First of all, the tourism system in this game is not ideal, and you cannot, as it stands, as I say this, make a tourism focused city and have it, be a tourism focused city. For whatever reason, you just will not make that much. The other issue is we don't have enough incoming transit. We don't have a harbor yet for passengers, and we don't have any kind of airfare. Airlines take up a ton of room. They're not something I get overly excited when it comes time to place. And we have to have very flat land. Now, we do have the flat land. I can't lie. Like, it's not exactly flatlandia through here, and all this back here is all hills. But we do have a couple of good spots we could put an airport. We could swing one. I think we could fit one in back here if we wanted to. The thing is, I hate doing airports in this game. Uh, the, you have two viable air. Oh, that's not wide enough, and I don't want to interrupt a river. Bugger. That land's not flat enough, and it's like right in the middle of downtown. All that's hill. All of this is hill. We could make this work over here, though. I think. Where can we make this work? That's not like we'd have to bulldoze a mountain range right there. And if we stick it over here, this is going to interfere with my city plan. Cannot stick it back there. We may have to redirect a river. Or two. That feels safe. How about right here? No, because if I do, that's going to put our downtown right in the line of sight. So I was just thinking about this. So, anyways, I hate doing airports. Look very closely if you can. Let me get to a flattish part of land. So, look on the left of this. You see where those subway icons are? All right, look at how this road is built. I'm going to try to center it on the screen now. You've got this weird U-shaped pattern that does not fit anything. Then you've got a rail line, which is good, but it goes under, around, and over the road. So it can be really, really difficult to place this to get a good roadway network. Um, and then you see those long little oblong curves sticking out of it. Now, those are important too because that's the path your airplanes are going to take. And you can't put down tall buildings around them. And you, of course, shouldn't because that would kill people. Um, but it makes it hard when you have a map that doesn't seem to be super conductive to putting in an airline. I mean, I'm going to say that at least not this type of airline. Um, you also can't have mountains. Again, for the same reason of that will kill people. And we don't want to actively kill people. Not in this game. Talk to me when I'm playing 76. Fallout 76 for the record, which 76 I'm referring to. Um And of course, I would like to have the international airport somewhere close to our downtown, where all of our features and functions are going to be. But what's looking like to me is that the only real viable place we have for it may be all the way down over here. And then even then, we're going to have to flatten out a bunch of rivers and lakes and a couple of other things just to make this viable. Can do it, but just because we can doesn't mean we should. Um, the other option, back down here, was sort of where I was thinking of it, but this is gonna take a. In here actually wouldn't be bad because we would be near a highway junction to go out of town and then into town, and we wouldn't be super far off from our bridge. And a highway running alongside the airport wouldn't be terrible. But how many tiles would we end up buying? Okay, so that's what? One, two, that's 4 by 4. Ew. Is that 4 by 4, 4 by 5? 4 by 4. Okay, so at least 16 tiles, and that's not counting row. So like 20 tiles right there. Let me take a look at the cost as we wrap things up tonight. Looking at 4 before we even put the airport down. And so, as much as I would like to go ahead and make that investment right away, I don't think that I'm going to be able to right this second. I think instead we should focus on getting a actual harbor built somewhere down in here. But I did tell you guys that I wanted to buy up these tiles, which is going to cost a pretty penny. I know. But I want to go ahead and buy up these tiles, get these 9. Go ahead and snap up that. Get that empty tile right there. That tile, that tile. Just to begin our downtown. That's a lot of money. That's 7.5. So I don't see any way around it. I mean, we've got plenty of room to develop a city if we wanted to, but not in the place that I wanted to build it. So let me go ahead and snap all of that up. Save our game. I feel like this is enough that it should be in the next video. So just buying that is one thing. Working with that's going to be another. This is like... Hang on. I ain't done. And I'll have to buy 2 more tiles. Maybe 3. Okay. We've used up all the petty cash. I did say maybe 3. Okay, so buying all of this up, what has this done for us? We are going to put in a passenger port here. I am possibly going to reconsider this right here and slip in another harbor right here, passenger harbor. We'll have to buy these 2 tiles and get rid of this whole bay area to allow it to flow in and out. But we can at least start getting some people coming in through right here. But we're not going to be able to do that until we fix this highway interchange. This massive, disgusting, blobulous highway interchange. Where nothing is as I want it. We have now spent what did we just spend? Like 10 million, I think, close to it. And there's a few other things we're going to want to do. We are going to shift this highway up. We are going to revisit this intersection. And we're going to have to do all of that before I can put a harbor here. So that's all on my to-do list. That's stuff that will be done. I just don't know how long it's going to take. I know it's going to take longer than the extra 15 minutes I'd normally allot for wrap up. And since I just spent all this money, I can't put down the things that I was hoping to put down to wrap things up with. So, pre-planning is pre-planning. Okay. In terms of this though, this demand for extra uh trains, without buying another tile or two, I'm not down for it right now because I'd like to put that extra train terminal up here. We can get a few train bridges running back and forth. It's not going to be a big deal. But that's not a right now thing. Um, we'll probably also want to buy these tiles as well. I'd like to split off this line and have it come in down this direction a little bit. Can we go ahead and afford those? Yeah, that's another 6 million right there. Okay, so we're gonna excuse me. We're going to acknowledge that I want to use this area for additional rail. But we're just not going to do it right now because what I would like to put is something along the lines of looking at this downtown, and here we can discuss what I would like to do, so I can do something completely different next time. What I'd like to do is to put a large train building like the central train station over here, somewhere towards the back, towards the medium, towards the middle. Birds, man. Along this area of hillside and be able to have this train station be able to service outgoing traffic to buy up more tiles eventually, bring in, I'd say, traffic coming this direction for another outside connection so that, and do it in a way that we'll be able to extend all the way down here. So when we put in an international airport over here, we'll be able to connect up. Or let me rephrase that. If we put the international airport over here and not down there, we'll be able to connect up to it. But either way, I expect to have a lot of transit up through here. Same token, we're going to want to make sure we have plenty of tram stops. We'll also have to go ahead and invest in a subway plan. I think we can get away with saying this area is worthy of a subway connection. We'll have several subway stops up through here, several subway stops down through there. Again, the reason being is because once we start zoning heavy, high density residential and heavy, high density office, we're going to have so much traffic, and the goal is to keep it to a bare minimum. I also want to invest in a lot of signature buildings, things that I haven't had opportunity to build myself, or I've only built once. Um, and there's a couple glorious ones that I'm really excited for, like putting down this massive structure, which is going to generate so much traffic. Um, Colossal Tower, not so well, generates traffic, but not so much. And I would like to put down some of these higher grade office buildings, specifically Skyline Palace, which is going to be a cornerstone investment for the whole city. And it's going to stick out. It's going to be wonderful. It's going to stand head and shoulders above most of our other buildings. But we have to have the infrastructure available for it first. Um, I'm going to go ahead, though, looking at these. How tall is this? It's a fairly tall structure. Waterfall array is also big, but not as. Multi-story media, not huge. The Imperial State Building is super impressive. Twain Tower is not the biggest. Financial Center is pretty huge, though. Just looking at these and things we haven't used, I'm going to go ahead and slip in the waterfall array. Since we're next to a technical college, you would be learning skills like software development and other things here. At least I think you would. I'm sure in comments somebody's going to tell me not. So let me just slip in. Let me not. Let me unbend Myrtle Street right there. And that's what? That's an 8 lane. And this will wrap us up. I know it's in water. It's a bridge. Why do you hate me so? Why? Okay. I'm not. I'm not right now. I'm not. There. In this signature building, right next to an 8 lane highway. Um, let me turn that around. So instead of being on the highway, we are against the edge of the highway. Did that actually that change nothing? Here we go. Okay. So while that puts it on a walking path, it should theoretically reduce the amount of traffic um, getting backed up right there. All right. I'm good with that. I think you guys are going to be good with that. We'll go ahead and slip in an extra office building beside it. We'll continue to use the northeast high density and then some general high density right beside it as well. This might make a little bit of noise for the people of Deuce Lydia apartments, but I think they'll manage. We'll also go ahead and slip in some, uh, let's go with, let me slip in the Japanese style uh, mixed use commercial right there, right behind all that. I think that'll fit in pretty well. Then a couple of Southwest style low density commercial right through there. Just to fill things in. Okay. All right then. So we now have a build plan for next episode. We're going to delete this whole highway network. Ow. We're gonna change this junction, and hopefully we'll get to install a cargo harbor. Not cargo. A passenger harbor, right over here, right where this is jutting out, or maybe right up here. Down here feels like a more viable place for it, though. So make good on all of our investments, and but even though on the upside, though, buying all those tiles only set us back 150,000 a month, so we're still making ludicrous amounts of money. We were already crept back up to 2 million, and now having this over here, which will increase our office efficiency, university education, graduation, and all that fun stuff. Like that'll help. That'll help boost our offices, and that ties into the extra new signature buildings we put in over here. Because don't forget, we did put in the Fox and Pub to increase our attractiveness and decrease our import costs. And not only that, we also snuck in the local office building for an additional office efficiency boost and university education and graduation chance. So, I mean, like all of these things are good things. They are all things that'll help our city in the long run. And having this port over here for import export will also help increase our everything. So far, so good. Complaints, small homes. The port apparently improved our mail service, so that's good. The high noise pollution, though, it is what it is. Oh, one last thing before I forget it. We could use a telecom tower down here. So let's go ahead and get that installed. Because I just know we could use one down here. And we don't have any real. Like the game's telling me, oh, our internet service is super reliable. Oh, our internet service is in the yellow. And we can stick a telecom tower over there next to recycling plants. How did that do for our coverage? So it helped some. What we need are things like the modern telecom building and the server farm. So those will be on the to-do list. Server farm's another one of those buildings that's going to look really good in the downtown area. Heck, it'd probably look pretty good up here too. Is there any way to wedge this in up here safely in a way that doesn't look like it would stand out like a sore thumb? Hmm. Get decent coverage? Yeah, right here, right next to the river. Okay. And then we'll upgrade it. Okay. Well, I hate to call it quits, as you guys always know, but thank you very much for tuning in. Don't forget to don't forget to give me a like, a follow, a subscribe, all of those things that I need as a content creator to boost my chances of monetization because I like money, even more than I like streaming video games. But I also have to have money so I can afford to buy more games. That's the way things go. Why is traffic backed up here? What y'all doing? Ugh. We may have to redo more than one intersection. We're going to have to redo more than one intersection. Rude. I mean, good because it shows that we have an influx of traffic up through here. Bad because reasons. Unless we want to split this road off and have it come down here. See if that alleviates some of our traffic headache. To encourage it to swing down, but that's another bridge. Can we? Can we just solve it so I don't forget it later? Anyways, building a city is never a job done in just a day, as you can tell. And if you hate to have problems waiting for you, sometimes it can be a little discouraging. So let's redirect some traffic right through there. Why? Why do that? Are you like coming into the city just to leave the city? This is what it looks like you're doing. At least for one of you. I don't know. These guys are weird, Joe. All right, till the next time. You guys be good, and I'll see you all again soon.